Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today is a review of an AEG. I know you're probably thinking, why are you reviewing an AEG? All you care about and all you talk about is gas blowbacks. Well, the reason is that Lancer Tactical sent this to me to review. And they actually sent me two things. They sent me this one and they also sent me a gas blowback version that they do. So the video reviewing the gas blowback version is to come soon. And the video that I'm going to do comparing this guy to the gas blowback is also coming, and also there's going to be a video where I give this away to one of our members. Now, Lancer Tactical obviously sent this to me, so they have not paid me, they've not told me to do anything in terms of the review, but obviously just bear that in mind when I'm talking about it, because they've given it to me for free, and I'm going to be passing this on to one of you guys, so there is some influence in that way. They also sent me, I think, like 4 other mags for this, and a battery, and a charger, and Face Pro, and BBs, and gas, but that's the other one. So I'm going to be doing a giveaway. That's going to be this Monday coming up. So if you are a member of the channel, or you want to be a member of the channel, and you'd like to win this, please do join. And then if you're joining by Monday, I will get this done in a live giveaway raffle, and whoever the member is that wins it will get a full package. So you'll get basically everything you need for Airsoft in one go. So thank you to Lancer Tactical for this. But on with the review. So this is the Lancer Tactical PPK-20. This is an AEG, as I said. And this actually, I think the main selling point of this is going to be its price point. Now, this is only $219. Now, if you're buying a well-performing, full-sized AEG, you're normally going to spend quite a bit more than that. Normally, you're spending for a gas blowback pistol, you know, like 170, 180 now. So for $220, you're basically getting a PPK-20, which is kind of like your more compact style AK. You know, it's a 9mm thinner mag, not your 7.62. But it is full polymer. It's going to give you a lot more functionality. Like, I'll go over the build as we kind of look through it, but the actual build quality of this is very good. However, it is full polymer, so you're not going to get like a metal body, a metal cover at the top, not metal elements to the stock, and it's pretty lightweight. I mean, it's not light as in you pick it up and you're like, wow, this thing weighs nothing, but it's definitely lighter than, you know, the equivalent in metal is going to be. So kind of first impressions, got it out of the box. I was like, this is cool because it's a different design to what you're normally seeing. Like, obviously you see a ton of AR platforms, you see a ton of AK platforms, you do not see, and you see a ton of like SMG style AR kind of stuff. An AK SMG, you don't see a huge amount of. So in terms of like style points of just like standing out, I think it's kind of good in that regard. The other thing is it's pretty like updated. So obviously you have a full length Picatinny rail on top. A lot of the AK platforms, the ones that I use in my gas blowbacks, don't have a rail on top of this dust cover. So you're gonna have to almost put your sight here. Whereas with this, you've got built-in iron sights. So you've got this built-in iron sight here, which I think is actually kind of cool. You have a rear iron sight here. You have the ability to put anywhere along here your optics or your lasers or whatever it is, but then you also have that below, and then you also on top of that have your M-LOK as well. So you've kind of got a good mix of M-LOK and Picatinny. So it's not like you're having to like install like the, you know, AK rail adapter, which would have to then put the rail on top of here. You're kind of like good to go. It's almost like that modern style. Now, they sent me the gray version, which I actually do quite like just because it's a bit different, but they have a black version and I think they have a tan version as well. I'm not 100% sure on that. But it is polymer. You can tell it's polymer. You're not thinking like, oh wait, is this metal when you're picking it up? Like, there are metal pieces, like the charging handle, I think on this. Yeah, the charging handle is metal. This little clip here, which is going to remove the battery cover, is metal. You've got metal pins in it. The trigger's metal. The fire selector's metal. Again, this is ambidextrous as well. So you've kind of got that modern take where you're not having to mess around. You are actually using like a AR almost style, you know, thumb selected fire selector. Whereas normally on an AK, I'm sure some of you are aware, you really need to be pushing this plate down to select semi-auto and full auto. So I quite like that. I do kind of wish a little bit, and I think this is like it is on the normal one, but I do kind of wish that you had the option to use this like a regular AK selector plate. But as you can see here, it kind of like selects it down and then it pushes it forward as opposed to going like almost 2 levels down. But I love that that's ambi. Obviously, you're not going to get recoil with this, which for me is a big downside because that's what I love. But just to go over, so full polymer receiver, it is very solid feeling, like without the mag in it, like there's no rattle in there at all. It folds here, and when you've got this locked in, sorry, my cleaners are in the background, which is why that noise is there. When this is locked in, like it's got some give to it, but it is really quite a solid feeling replica for sure. So it is full polymer. It's got a steel outer barrel. So that means that obviously I've got this horrible orange flash hider on here, but the actual outer barrel is steel, which means that I can mount with a counterclockwise 14mm thread whatever I need to on here, which obviously I'm not going to keep that on, so I will change that. But if it was a plastic outer barrel, you know, your threads, you're going to have issues with them. It's probably not something that I would ever want on a replica, really. The balance of it, I would say, like, this is obviously going to be very lightweight. This is not a gas mag. This is just going to hold BBs in it. No gas, no metal. It's definitely a very, like, lightweight plastic mag. The weight on it's pretty good. I mean, you've got the motor here because it's an AEG. You have your battery, which is running in this top cover here. But it's very kind of light. You can flip it around very easily. As a CQB replica, I think this is going to be pretty high up there. If you want something that's lightweight, that's kind of like good to go out the box, you can just pop your attachments on it. Then, you know, you've got ambi, you've got all the things that you potentially would add to a replica, and you're getting it for $219. I think that's pretty good. I am going to do a chrono test and a rate of fire as well, so just hold on to the end of the video and I'll get onto that. So as I said, it's got M-LOK here, so I like M-LOK a lot more than Picatinny. I always have Picatinny on top, but if I'm mounting lasers, flashlights, etc., I'll always normally pick that. The actual like handguard of it is pretty like thin. I'll show you the profile of it there. So when you're grabbing it, it's very easy to get your kind of hand on. It's very kind of, it feels quite similar in like dimensions, almost like to an MP5. You know, like the kind of AK version of an MP5 is how I'd kind of describe it. Mags are very, very similar to an MP5 mag, obviously with it being 9mm. One thing actually I do really like about this is, I've said this in previous like Lancer Tactical review videos, is that I hate having like the manufacturer's branding on there. So they, a lot of the time, will put their big like Lancer Tactical logo on there. This doesn't have that. This has only got kind of like your minimal, you know, your Russian text here, just like serial numbers. But there is no kind of like big, this is made by Lancer Tactical on it, which I really, really like. It's got obviously the dust cover here, which is gonna show where the battery's in. I'll show you that now. What is quite cool actually is that the removal, if you saw the unboxing video, I did this, but you've got a pin here. You're gonna push this through. It's gonna allow you to, I'm gonna lift this first out of this little catch. I'm gonna pull this through with the pin, and then that allows me to remove this dust cover. So the dust cover comes off, and I've put the battery in here just to kind of figure out and get it in there. It's wired to Deans, which is great because a lot of the replicas that you see still haven't switched over to that. And what I find really annoying is that they haven't switched over to that. It takes a lot more space. But actually at this price point, having that I think is pretty great. Like $220, they're kind of like starting to do it. They sent me this battery, so this is going to be included in the giveaway. But this is an 11-1 and it's a 1300 milliamp hour. So it's a powerful battery with a lot of capacity in it. So it's going to last a long time. And I was like, how am I going to fit this in here? Like, how does this work? Like, I'm going to have a real issue, which a lot of people do have with AKs, of getting this actual cover on top. This is pretty awesome because I only figured this out as I was installing it, but this entire area here is also a void. So if you get this specific battery, and I think most 11-1, you know, stick batteries like this are going to be similar, but you can literally like slide it the entire way through. So I can put that in there very easily. As you can see, I've got all this space here for the wiring. I can put the wiring right here. I can hear that little vibration saying it's been connected. And then this top cover is just going to sit in place on here. And so that was another one of my big pet peeves of AEGs is like, I absolutely hate doing the whole like, let's find battery space, let's work out where we're gonna put this and like squeezing it in and taking them out. But this really is securely held in place. There is no wobble of like, is the battery in there? There's tons of space. You're not gonna fit anything other than a stick battery in there, but it works really well for that. So I really like that. And obviously, you know, just being able to take it on and off that easily, not have too much give in it. Like there might be a tiny bit of wobble there, but the big thing that you need to find important is your sight's probably going to go along here. So if this is wiggling around, then that is going to affect sight performance. So that for me is another plus for that one. Yeah, the folding stock feature's great. It's got a QD sling point here, so you could run a single point if you wanted there. You could put a little like mag pull QD release here like I do normally. If I do that, I probably won't build this out as a custom build because I'll do it on the other one and I'm going to do some gameplay with that. I just need to get more gas magazines. But this I will, I'll kind of take you through. You can very easily build this out with very little money. You can just buy a repro sight to put on it, buy a sling, and you're good to go. Basically, you just need a few mags and you're good. This button here is how you're gonna like release the stock. And then that stock is just gonna fold into place and it clicks in right there. You can rip the stock open, which I like, or you can just push the button down here, reopen it, clicks into place, and that's good. You have this little lever button here, which you're gonna push in, and this is gonna allow you to retract and close the stock. So that is pretty adjustable. Like you don't have any cheek riser adjustment, which I don't know why you would need. And actually I like the level of the stock because it does allow you to kind of like look down the iron sights. So if you decide to just keep with the iron sights, then that's great. If you've got an actual red dot on there, I think it's going to be pretty perfect as well, but it's not too high up where you're having to like crouch your head down or your eye down to get into there. Side folding adjustable stock, yeah, we went through that. It's also got, has it got another QD? No, that's the only QD you have on this guy. And then obviously you kind of have your AK style, MP5 style mag release, which is this lever here, which I think most people are very, very used to. There is some wobble in the actual mag. Again, it's a very light mag, so you're not going to notice it that much, but that is going to move. So if you're wondering about that, there is some movement in there. The pistol grip's pretty good. You're not going to be able to replace this because it is part of the lower, but it is a very kind of like nice large size. It's got a lot of like length to it, so your hand is actually, you know, it's not sticking off the end, so I quite like that. It isn't like your kind of traditional AK style either. You know, you've got a lot more like texture, and it's kind of got a flare to the bottom of it there as well. I mean, it's comfortable. I always like to like change out my grips. So for me, it's like, oh, I kind of want to be able to change it out, but it is definitely comfortable. And it's kind of like that one piece. So again, I think it's going to be fine. For the person that I think that buys this, probably, if you're trying to get into Airsoft, this is probably a very good choice. Obviously, we'll test it now with the FPS and the rate of fire. But I think that if you're like, I just have like $250, I want to buy a battery, I want to get a replica, I want to get a couple of mags, and I want you just to be able to buy my BBs and go, I think this is going to work really well. FPS wise, I think it's firing at like 300 to 320. So this really in the US is built for your CQB sites. Like you can fire up to 400 a lot of the time in the US on outdoor fields. So it may be a bit underpowered for that, but I think for CQB it's great. If you're playing in the UK and the limits are 350, it's probably going to be great for that. So I quite like that you haven't got to like play around with like downgrading anything. But I think for this, it's kind of like a bare bones, like, oh, I either want my first Airsoft replica or I want something that I can use, which I don't want to spend a ton of money on and it works. Or, hey, I've got my replicas, I'd like something for CQB. You know, I'd like another primary that I can just use in CQB games. And in which case, that's great. It's not going to be your top of the line, most expensive, you know, best internals, best externals replica. But it is, from what I've felt so far with it, and I haven't played with this, just as a heads up, it's been pretty good. What else have we got? Okay, so we've got an adjustable rear sight. Again, with these, I'm always like, yes, it's adjustable. Have I ever adjusted a rear iron sight in Airsoft? No. The actual like window is, or you know, the accuracy at those ranges really isn't going to make a big difference. So it's adjustable, but for me that's not a big change. Okay, so performance, apparently it's 300 to 320. It says it's the smooth cycling version 3 gearbox with 9mm bearings. It's compatible with most aftermarket AK parts, which again I think is cool, because it means if you want to buy real steel AK stuff and put it on here, that's great. I think most people that buy this won't do that because it's, you know, a cheaper Airsoft replica and it's polymer. So if you're putting like real steel AK parts on it, I probably think you're spending that money and saving up and then doing that later on a more authentic like metal AK replica. I don't know. Let me know if you agree. Easy access to a hop up. So the hop up wheel is just in here. You can see there, it's that like rotary hop up. So I can just flick that very easily. Of course, because I like gas blowbacks and I like recoil, I'd much prefer it if that bolt action was going backward and forward and giving me recoil, but it's a very easy to access hop up. You're literally just pulling that back with that spring, adjusting and then releasing, and it's covered. What else do we have? Mag capacity. So the mags here apparently are 95 round mid caps. So I actually really like, because a lot of the time if you see cheaper replicas, they're going to be giving you a high cap with them. You know, it's like a winding mag, it's going to be shaking or whatever. This is a 95 round mid cap. So you could buy quite a few of these and just run them. And 95 rounds is a lot. Like I'm used to running like 30 round mags. So I like that actually they're doing mid caps with it, and 95 rounds for such a small mag is pretty good. Like your EPM ones, the 200 round mags, they're going to be like twice the size of this at least. So for that, you're getting basically a very lightweight plastic cheap mag, which has great mag capacity in it. So again, it kind of falls into that person that's going to buy this just wants to go out and play, and having one of those would probably do for some people. I would say that you probably want 2 or 3 of those at least if you're thinking, right, I'm going to go out and I'm going to shoot a lot. So I've kind of talked about who that I think this is kind of useful for. I think some people may upgrade it, but to be honest, again, you may want to buy a more expensive base. So I think for most people, this is going to be like your second primary just for your CQB, or it's your first gun, or something where you just want to spend amount of money. You don't want to have a load of hidden costs to then like upgrade it and take it further. Value for money at $219, I think is pretty good. Like, again, we're going to test it now with this, but the value at $219, I think you're getting a full-sized AEG that is going to basically allow you to run 95 round mid caps in an 11-1 battery that's going to probably go all day or most of the day. So value for money, I think, is pretty awesome. And the fact that we're going to do this in a giveaway and give away everything with it, hopefully is like a really exciting thing for a member. If you want to interested in the membership levels, it's like $2.99 or $4.99. We literally will do like multiple giveaways every single month. And it's literally like a live stream where I just do a raffle. If you're in the higher tier, you have your name entered 3 times. If you're in the lower tier, it's entered once. So your chances just go up of winning. But I think I'm quite excited to give this away because it basically means that someone could be like, right, I'm not into Airsoft yet, but actually this means that I can have my face protection, my actual replica, my BBs, my battery, my charger, everything. So I hope that's good. All right, so let's test this, guys. We're expecting 300 to 320 FPS. I've got my chrono here. I put the battery in there, so let's just make sure that's working. So it's pretty snappy, I have to say. Like, it is, the trigger on it is very, and the noise on it's pretty nice. Like, I expected it to be very like, being a cheaper AEG, but it's pretty fun sounding, to be honest. The mags here, let's fill this up. This is 0.2 gram BBs because we decided to do that for the actual video. For the chrono, but I'd probably, if it was me using these, would be running this on 0.25s. That would be my estimation without using it of what it is. Obviously here I'm not testing the range and the hop up, so just bear that in mind. This is just going to be what FPS it's firing at and what the consistency is, and then also what rate of fire you're going to get. I'm not sure about the rate of fire, so we'll figure this out, but as I said, we're expecting probably for this one around that 300, 320 mark. So I'm going to hit this with, we want to go with 0.2s, ammo. Let's go with, I'm trying to like work out how I do this now. Nope, just turned it off again. We're going to go with 0.2s. Okay, so 0.2 gram BBs through this chrono. We are going with, let's put it on semi. So one click is semi. So that's at 354, 362, 363, 359, 362, 363, 359, 361, 364, 359, 359. Okay, so I have to say, like, that's higher than I was expecting. Like, I thought it was going to be 300 to 320. That's basically an average of about 360. Now, the consistency was really good. Like, that's varying from like 3 to 4 FPS really on that. And I have to say, I was expecting that to be a lot bigger gap. Also, it's like, that's the first shots this is put through. So the hop up rubber is not, 1 second. Sorry, my doorbell just rung. That was my lunch arriving. So yeah, so that was pretty consistent considering like 360. I was expecting 320. To be honest, that kind of revises my earlier statements. Now I'm like, okay, maybe it is actually quite good for an outdoor replica because that means that you're really firing at that like 360 level, not at 320. So if you are playing with this outdoors, that's good. 360 is going to be normally in that range, which is fine for indoor. I think like the sites that I play indoor, it's like, oh, if you're firing below like 320, you can lose full auto with less minimum engagement. But 360 generally, I would say is gonna be pretty good. I would expect that to bed down slightly, so probably come down to that 350 level. But yeah, I'm pretty impressed. I'm actually really impressed with the trigger and actually the noise of it. You can hear it on here so you can make your own decision, but I thought it would be a lot more whiny. Let's hear though what the full auto sounds like. I'll just do a little burst of it first. Okay, so the rate of fire on this is pretty good. I was expecting a bit slower. So let's get an idea now of the rate of fire. So it's basically one push for semi, so that's safe. Then it's one push for semi, full push for auto, which is almost the opposite of most AKs. Normally, like the first latch down is full auto, the second latch down is semi. So I was kind of a bit like thinking, oh, which one's gonna be which on this? So rate of fire, let's go. 19.6 rounds per second. So that's really quick. Like out of the box, 220 round, $220 replica. I have to say I'm very, very impressed. I haven't seen other reviews on this, so this is just my own personal impressions, and this is something that I have not played a game with, so I can't tell you much other than that, but there will be another video on this just comparing it to the gas blowback version. But this is, yeah, the Lancer Tactical PPK-20 replica for $219. I'm going to finish off this mag just so that we see that. And so obviously you're not going to get holdback. That is just going to kind of like, you know, continue to fire but not actually put any BBs in. It is going to drop a BB on that. Let me just make sure. Yeah, so we're good there. But yeah, guys, so to be honest, I'm very, very impressed. I think, to be honest, if it was me, I may not buy it just because I've got some very expensive replicas and I don't necessarily need it in my collection. But if I'm talking to someone who's like, hey, I want a replica to start off, just give you that. I want a replica to start off playing Airsoft, or I'd like something that's a bit different and is like an AK style or something that I don't see much of. I'm actually very, very pleasantly surprised. So guys, there'll be a link to this down below if you want to go and check it out. I think I've just got an Amazon link probably just to buying it. So if you want to buy it, then definitely head down there. If you have any questions, please do put them in the comments as well. And also, this will be a giveaway, as I've mentioned about 4 times. So if you would like to be included in that, please just join the membership before Monday. And this guy could be yours with all the extra bonuses that Lancer Tactical have sent me. Thank you so much, guys. Speak to you all soon. Have a great day wherever you are. And yeah, speak to you all soon again.